The Three-Body Problem Netflix Edition, The Art and Challenges of Cross-Cultural Adaptation. Brief introduction to the original background and influence of the three-body problem. The Three-Body series is widely considered to be the pinnacle of Chinese science fiction literature and was written by the famous writer Liu Cixin. Since the first work was released in 2006, the series has received huge attention and praise around the world for its unique scientific and philosophical discussions, complex character relationships, and profound thinking about the future of human society. The original work not only opened a new chapter in the field of Chinese science fiction literature, but also successfully crossed the boundaries of culture and language, was translated into multiple languages, and won many international awards including the Hugo Award, becoming a global science fiction work. A common treasure for enthusiasts. The significance and challenges of Netflix's adaptation of the Three-Body Problem. Netflix's decision to adapt the Three-Body Problem into a film and television production has undoubtedly deepened the status of the Three-Body Problem as a global cultural phenomenon. The development of the Netflix version of the Three-Body Problem is not only an affirmation of the profound influence of the original work, but also represents an important attempt to expand the international influence of Chinese science fiction literature. However, transforming such a work with a profound cultural background, complex plot, and extensive scientific and philosophical issues into a film and television work that can be accepted by a global audience is undoubtedly full of challenges. This includes how to faithfully reflect the complex worldview of the original work, how to deal with sensitive historical contexts such as the Cultural Revolution, and how to create a visual and narrative style that can appeal to global audiences while maintaining the spirit of the original work. The importance of cross-cultural adaptation in the context of globalization. In the context of globalization, cross-cultural adaptation is not only an important way of cultural exchange, but also a bridge that promotes understanding and respect between different cultures. For a work like The Three-Body Problem, the adaptation process is not only an opportunity to introduce a Chinese science fiction story to the world, but also a platform to explore the future challenges and philosophical issues faced by mankind. Through cross-cultural adaptation, the ideas and concepts in the Three-Body Problem, such as the ethical considerations of scientific and technological development, the conflict and exchange of civilizations, etc., can be introduced to a global audience, thereby stimulating the common thinking of all mankind about the future. In addition, this is also an important step to test and demonstrate whether Chinese science fiction literature can overcome cultural barriers and be accepted and appreciated by audiences with different cultural backgrounds around the world. The production and distribution of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem is not only a film and television representation of an outstanding science fiction work, but also an attempt at cross-cultural communication and understanding. Its success or failure will provide valuable experience and lessons for the production, dissemination, and acceptance of cultural products in the context of globalization. Part 1. The original work and cultural roots of the Three-Body Problem. Liu Cixin and the status of the Three-Body Problem in Chinese science fiction literature. Liu Cixin, as the author of the Three-Body Problem, not only enjoys a high status in the Chinese science fiction literary circle, but is also widely recognized by the international community as one of the most important contemporary science fiction writers. Liu Cixin's works are famous for their grand imagination, in-depth scientific exploration and profound reflection on the future of mankind. The Three-Body Problem, as his masterpiece, marks an important turning point for Chinese science fiction literature from the margins to the mainstream. The series not only won many international awards including the Hugo Award, but more importantly, it successfully attracted the attention of global readers to Chinese science fiction literature, broke the Western-dominated science fiction literature pattern, and won a great reputation for Chinese science fiction literature. A place on the world stage. Overview of the story of the three-body problem and reflections on scientific philosophy. The three-body series revolves around the first contact between humans on Earth and the alien civilization Tri-Solaran, spanning a broad timeline from the Cultural Revolution period to the distant future. The work presents a complex view of the universe through a delicate narrative, exploring multiple themes such as technological progress, conflict, and cooperation among civilizations, the delicate balance of the universe, and humankind's position in the universe. Liu Cixin uses the three-body problem, a difficult physics problem, as a metaphor to demonstrate the uncertainty and complexity in scientific exploration, triggering readers' in-depth thinking about science, philosophy, and human society. The special significance of the Cultural Revolution background and its impact on the story. The opening chapter of the three-body series is set during the Chinese Cultural Revolution. This historical background has a profound impact on the entire story. The Cultural Revolution is not only an important time and space background in the series, but also profoundly affects the core themes and the fate of the characters in the work. The social environment in which science was suppressed and rationality was distorted during the Cultural Revolution reflected the moral and rational crises that may arise when human civilization faces huge external threats. Liu Cixin explores the possible future direction of human values, social structure, and civilization under extreme conditions by linking the historical experience of the Cultural Revolution with contact with alien civilizations. This unique narrative perspective not only shows an important aspect of modern Chinese history, but also provides readers around the world with a window to understand the changes in Chinese society and the innovation of science fiction literature. Liu Cixin's The Three-Body Problem is not only the pinnacle of Chinese science fiction literature, but also a treasure in the treasure house of global science fiction literature. With its unique cultural roots, profound scientific and philosophical thinking, and extensive exploration of the future of mankind, it contributes an important Chinese perspective to global science fiction literature, and also provides valuable material and inspiration for cross-cultural communication and understanding. Part 2: The creative background of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem. The history and decision-making process of Netflix purchasing the copyright of The Three-Body Problem. Netflix's acquisition of the copyright for The Three-Body Problem is based on its long-term plan for the global market and its unremitting pursuit of high-quality content. The international influence of The Three-Body Problem, especially its important position in the field of science fiction literature, makes it a treasure in the eyes of Netflix. The decision-making process involves an in-depth evaluation of the content of the work, analysis of the potential market, and consideration of the fan base of the original work. Netflix recognized that The Three-Body Problem not only has the potential to attract science fiction fans around the world, but also has the opportunity to expand its audience through its unique cultural background and philosophical depth. In addition, as the Chinese market's demand for high-quality film and television content continues to grow, the adaptation of The Three-Body Problem is also seen as an important strategy to attract Chinese audiences and expand its influence in the Chinese market. The composition and background of the adaptation team, such as the selection of directors and screenwriters. The production team of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem is composed of a group of top international talents who have rich experience in film and television production, science fiction literature adaptation, and cross-cultural exchanges. When selecting directors and screenwriters, Netflix pays special attention to their understanding of the original work, their ability to innovate, and their ability to handle science fiction elements. The team members not only come from different cultural backgrounds, but also have different professional backgrounds. This diversified configuration aims to ensure that the adaptation of The Three-Body Problem is not only faithful to the scientific and philosophical depth of the original work, but also creates a visual that is in line with the aesthetics of international audiences. Effects and narrative style. Through this cross-cultural and cross-field collaboration, Netflix hopes to overcome language and cultural differences and present The Three-Body Problem, a masterpiece of Chinese science fiction literature, to a global audience. Expected goals and challenges, global audiences and Chinese stories. One of Netflix's main goals in adapting The Three-Body Problem is to introduce this science fiction masterpiece, which is deeply rooted in Chinese culture, to a global audience while maintaining its original cultural characteristics and philosophical exploration. This goal faces considerable challenges. First, how to deal with the historical and cultural elements with Chinese characteristics in The Three-Body Problem so that it can be understood by a global audience without losing its original depth and charm. Secondly, how to appropriately display science fiction elements and complex philosophical issues in film and television works to attract the interest of non-science fiction literature readers. Finally, how to balance the expectations of fans of the original work for fidelity and the inherent innovation needs of film and television adaptations. The production team of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem is committed to meeting these challenges through innovative film and television language, carefully designed narrative structure, and sensitive processing of cultural elements. Their goal is not only to create a high-quality science fiction film and television work, but also to promote understanding and communication between different cultures through this work, and to demonstrate the potential of science fiction literature as a bridge for cross-cultural dialogue. To achieve this goal, the team employed a variety of strategies. First of all, when dealing with the historical and cultural elements with Chinese characteristics in The Three-Body Problem, the production team conducted in-depth research on the cultural background of the original work and conducted extensive exchanges with historians, cultural scholars, and Liu Cixin himself to ensure that the adapted work was both faithful and faithful. The original work can be understood by a global audience. At the same time, in order to bring science fiction elements and complex philosophical issues closer to global audiences, screenwriters and directors carefully designed film and television narrative techniques, using visual effects and plot structures to transform profound scientific and philosophical concepts into visual and emotional experiences that are easy for the audience to accept. In addition, in order to balance the expectations of fans of the original work for fidelity and the inherent innovation needs of film and television adaptations, while retaining the core elements of the original work, the production team also invested in creativity and resources to enhance the drama of the story through innovative visual expression techniques and plot adjustments. Tension and enjoyment. By adding new plot threads, expanding or deepening the backgrounds of certain characters, and reimagining the visual presentation of certain scenes, they both enrich the story and increase the work's universal appeal. The creative background and production process of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem demonstrate a cross-cultural and cross-field innovative attempt, aiming to promote communication and understanding between different cultures through science fiction, a global cultural product. The success of this project will not only bring a high-quality science fiction film and television work to global audiences, but also provide valuable experience and inspiration for future cross-cultural creation, proving that even stories deeply rooted in specific cultural soil can be crossing cultural and language boundaries, touching the heartstrings of audiences around the world. Part 3. The Art of Cross-Cultural Adaptation. Cultural sensitivity in adaptation. When adapting a science fiction masterpiece like The Three-Body Problem that is deeply rooted in Chinese culture into a film and television work for a global audience, handling cultural sensitivity is particularly critical. The production team is well aware that the historical background, social dynamics, and cultural symbols in the story are full of unique emotions and memories for Chinese audiences, and may be alienated or misunderstood in different cultural backgrounds. To this end, the screenwriter and director took an extremely cautious attitude during the adaptation process and worked closely with cultural consultants to ensure that elements with specific cultural significance in the original work were appropriately interpreted and presented. When it comes to the depiction of sensitive historical events such as the Cultural Revolution, special attention is paid to maintaining respect and authenticity and avoiding simplification or distortion, so as to promote a correct understanding of this period of history for global audiences. Balance between localization and globalization of storyline and characters. In terms of storyline and character setting, the Netflix version of the three-body problem strives to achieve a balance between localization and globalization. This means that while maintaining the spirit and core storyline of the original work, appropriately adjusting certain plots and characters to make them more in line with the viewing habits and cultural expectations of global audiences. For example, although the main characters and background still maintain the Chinese characteristics of the original work, its cross-cultural resonance is enhanced by adding more universal emotions and conflicts, such as family love, sacrifice, moral choices, etc. In addition, some dialogues and scenes have been carefully designed to not only show China's social scene, but also be familiar and accepted by global audiences. Combination of science fiction elements and Chinese characteristics. Part of what makes the three-body problem unique is its clever combination of science fiction elements and Chinese characteristics. The Netflix version paid special attention to maintaining this feature when adapting it, closely connecting scientific exploration and philosophical thinking with China's historical and cultural background. For example, by showing the role and contribution of Chinese scientists in the global scientific community, as well as their unique thinking patterns and cultural identities when facing alien civilizations, science fiction stories are deeply rooted in the soil of Chinese culture, while also it presents the common destiny and spirit of exploration of all mankind when facing the unknown universe. The role of visual effects and technology in cultural adaptability. Visual effects and technical means are important tools for cross-cultural adaptation. The Netflix version of the three-body problem uses advanced film and television production technologies, such as special effects, CGI, photography techniques, etc., to vividly present the science fiction scenes and future world in the original work, while injecting Chinese elements, such as traditional architecture, clothing, colors, etc., creating a visual style that is both in line with science fiction imagination and with Chinese characteristics. This unique visual expression not only enhances the appeal of the work, but also enables global audiences to visually feel the beauty of Chinese culture, thereby promoting the understanding and appreciation of the combination of traditional Chinese culture and modern technology. In this way, visual effects become a bridge of cross-cultural communication, not only to show the magnificent scenes of science fiction, but also to tell a story about the future world that incorporates the essence of Chinese culture. In addition, the use of technical means is also reflected in the innovation of storytelling methods. In order to allow global audiences to better understand and immerse themselves in the complex storyline of the three-body problem, the production team adopted techniques such as nonlinear narrative and multi-perspective crossover, as well as through new technologies such as augmented reality AR and virtual reality VR. Media technology provides viewers with a richer and more moving viewing experience. The application of these technologies not only makes science fiction elements more vivid, but also makes the expressions of Chinese culture more diverse and three-dimensional, helping to overcome cultural barriers and allowing global audiences to enjoy a visual feast while also deeply feeling the meaning behind the story. Cultural significance and philosophical reflections. The art of cross-cultural adaptation is fully demonstrated in the Netflix version of the three-body problem. Through careful handling of cultural sensitivity, the balance between localization and globalization of storylines and characters, the organic combination of science fiction elements with Chinese characteristics, and the innovative application of visual effects and technical means, the production team not only successfully transformed a Chinese science fiction literary masterpieces are presented to a global audience and take an important step in promoting understanding and communication between different cultures. The successful adaptation of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem has provided valuable experience and inspiration for more future film and television works in cross-cultural backgrounds, demonstrating that in the era of globalization, cultural diversity and inclusiveness are the key to creating touching works. Key. Part 4. Challenges and Controversies. Controversy over the depiction of the Cultural Revolution. The Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem faced huge challenges and controversy when dealing with the background of the Cultural Revolution. The Cultural Revolution was an extremely sensitive and complex period in Chinese history, and its depiction required not only historical accuracy but also handling of the emotional and cognitive impact on different audiences. Due to the profound impact of the Cultural Revolution on Chinese society and personal destiny, the period's unfolding has attracted widespread attention around the world. On the one hand, the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem attempts to remain faithful to the Cultural Revolution depicted in the original work and to show the social atmosphere in which science and rationality were suppressed during this period. On the other hand, the production team must also balance showing the historical truth while avoiding over-intensification. Find a balance between emotions to respect historical victims and avoid unnecessary political sensitivity. Fans of the original novel react to the changes. Adapting any work with a large fan base will face some degree of reaction from fans of the original work to the changes. As for the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem, although the adaptation team made innovative attempts while maintaining the core elements of the original work, it still inevitably triggered dissatisfaction among some fans of the original work. Some fans have expressed concerns about storyline adjustments, character changes, and reinterpretations of sci-fi details, fearing that these changes will affect the depth and complexity of the original work. Especially for fans who regard The Three-Body Problem as a masterpiece of science fiction literature, any attempt to deviate from the original work may be seen as disrespectful to the original work. These challenges and controversies highlight the difficulties in the process of cross-cultural adaptation, that is, how to retain the spirit of the original work while creating film and television works that suit the tastes of global audiences. The adaptation team must find a delicate balance between being faithful to the original work and satisfying the narrative needs of the film and television drama. At the same time, it is also necessary to communicate with fans of the original work through various channels to explain the necessity and creative intentions of the changes to reduce misunderstandings and objections. During the adaptation of the Netflix version of The Three-Body Problem, the depiction of China's Cultural Revolution period triggered heated discussions and polarizing comments from Chinese netizens. At the beginning of the first episode, the protagonist Ye Wenjie's father, a physicist who insisted on scientific truth, was brutally beaten to death by the Red Guards because of his theoretical persistence. This scene became controversial by recreating a scene of criticism during the Cultural Revolution. Focus. On evaluation platforms such as Douban, many people gave this direct and cruel historical display a low 1-star rating, believing that the drama touched sensitive historical nodes too directly. Discussions on Weibo and other social media are even more polarized. Some netizens criticized the plot of the Netflix version for being magically modified, thinking that this was made to try to undermine China. Why is the original work centered on China, but Netflix has become a completely Western-centered one? Such comments reflect some viewers' concerns about China, dissatisfaction with adaptation choices and perspective. At the same time, Some people believe that the Netflix version of the three-body problem specifically mentions the Cultural Revolution in order to use historical events to make this dumpling for this dish of vinegar, implying an attitude of using history. Despite this, some viewers still gave positive comments to the Netflix version, pointing out that its rhythm, ideas, and logic are clearer and tighter than the original work, and its texture is similar to the movie. This part of the audience believes that it is completely reasonable and even necessary to tell a science fiction story with a grand background like the three-body problem through diverse characters and perspectives. The background world of three-body problem requires a larger world view and requires countless people of different skin colors to construct this story. I don't think there is any problem. In addition, some netizens have connected the historical depictions in the Netflix version of the three-body problem with current social phenomena, believing that the recent unpatriotic cyber violence against certain public figures on Weibo is related to the scenes during the Cultural Revolution. They have different approaches but similar effects, thus triggering in-depth discussions on history, memory, and current social attitudes. These netizen comments and discussions reflect the challenges faced by cross-cultural adaptations, especially when dealing with themes with profound cultural and historical significance. They not only demonstrate the diverse responses of audiences to adaptations, but also reflect deep concerns about the complex relationship between historical memory, cultural identity, and global perspectives. Global audience acceptance and misunderstandings caused by cultural differences. The Netflix version of the three-body problem is presented to a global audience, which inevitably brings about understanding difficulties and misunderstandings caused by cultural differences. For non-Chinese audiences, the specific historical background of the Cultural Revolution and its profound impact on the development of characters and stories may be difficult to fully understand, which affects the grasp of the entire story situation. At the same time, the rich traditional Chinese cultural elements and philosophical thinking in the original work may be simplified or misunderstood in the absence of corresponding cultural background knowledge, affecting the audience's understanding of the deep themes of the work. In addition, for some content with universal value differences, such as questioning authority, the relationship between individuals and collectives, etc., audiences from different cultural backgrounds may have completely different interpretations and emotional reactions. This cultural difference not only challenges the sensitivity and creativity of the production team in the adaptation process, but also tests the global audience's ability to accept and understand cross-cultural works. The challenge of adaptation in the depth of the philosophy of science. The original work The Three-Body Problem is famous for its in-depth discussion of science and philosophy, covering many fields such as physics, astronomy, philosophy, and social sciences, and constructing a grand and complex view of the universe. In the process of adapting such a work with extremely high scientific and philosophical depth, how to maintain the scientific rigor and philosophical depth of the original work while adapting it to the narrative form of the film and television media and the audience's acceptance has become a major challenge. On the one hand, the accurate communication of scientific concepts and theories needs to be cleverly realized through visual effects and plot design to avoid reducing scientific rigor or misleading the audience. On the other hand, the profound philosophical discussions and thinking about the future of human society and civilization in the original work need to find suitable expression techniques in film and television dramas. We must not only explain the profound things in a simple way, but also avoid oversimplification and maintain the ideological depth of the work. This is not only a challenge for the screenwriter and director, but also a test of the performance of the special effects team and actors. In this process, the production team had to find a balance between being faithful to the original work and adapting to the film and television language, and tried to transform the scientific and philosophical exploration in the three-body problem into something that the audience can appreciate through innovative narrative structure, visual expression, and character creation. Film and television works that are also understandable. The successful response to this challenge will not only enrich the global audience's understanding and interest in scientific philosophy, but also promote the development of science fiction film and television works towards higher quality and depth. Part 5. Reception and impact of the Netflix version of the three-body problem. Comparison of domestic and foreign evaluations. Since the release of the Netflix version of the three-body problem, it has aroused widespread attention and heated discussion among domestic and foreign audiences, and its evaluation shows obvious regional differences. In China, because the play touches on sensitive historical events such as the Cultural Revolution and is a bold adaptation of the original work, some viewers have reservations and worry that it may misunderstand or simplify the profound cultural and philosophical connotations of the original work. Among international audiences, especially those with limited knowledge of modern Chinese history, there are varying degrees of acceptance of the complex historical background and scientific and philosophical content in the play, but many people express great enthusiasm for this cross-cultural science fiction work. Interest and curiosity, appreciate its unique story background and visual expression. Position and contribution in global science fiction culture. As an international film and television work based on Chinese science fiction literature, the Netflix version of the three-body problem has undoubtedly made an important contribution to the diversity and richness of global science fiction culture. It not only introduces China's unique historical experience and cultural elements into the international science fiction field, but also challenges and expands the boundaries of science fiction works to explore human society and future destiny through profound scientific and philosophical discussions. In addition, through high-quality production and innovative adaptation, the Netflix version of the three-body problem has also set a new benchmark for global science fiction film and television works, demonstrating the unique value and potential of science fiction works in cross-cultural exchanges. Potential to promote cross-cultural understanding and communication. The Netflix version of the three-body problem is not only a successful cultural product output, but also a useful attempt at cross-cultural understanding and communication. By presenting China's unique history, culture, and philosophical reflections to a global audience, the play provides a common discussion platform to enhance understanding between different cultures. By watching and discussing the three-body problem, the audience can not only appreciate the imagination and visual shock of the science fiction story, but also gain a deeper understanding of the history, culture, and future development faced by China and even all mankind. In this process, cultural differences become opportunities, rather than obstacles, to enhance mutual understanding and promote global dialogue. The production and broadcast of the Netflix version of the three-body problem not only had a broad impact in the field of global science fiction culture, but also made important contributions to cross-cultural exchanges and the promotion of global cultural diversity. It proves that science fiction works, as a carrier of culture and ideas, have the unique ability to connect different cultures and explore common human issues in the future, providing new perspectives and inspiration for the development of the global cultural industry and cultural exchanges. Part 6. The balance between adaptation and originality. Maintain the spirit of the original work and meet the needs of visual storytelling. In the process of adapting the three-body problem, the production team faced the challenge of how to maintain the spirit of the original work while meeting the visual narrative needs of film and television works. The spirit of the original work is not only reflected in its complex scientific theories and philosophical thinking, but also in its profound exploration of human nature, society, and the future. Transforming these elements into visual narrative requires the production team to innovate in script creation, scene design, special effects applications, etc. to ensure that the visual expression of the story can both attract the audience and faithfully reflect the themes and emotions of the original work. This means that during the adaptation process, every creative decision needs to weigh the depth of the original work and the expressiveness of the film and television medium to achieve the best balance between both parties. The dialectical relationship between innovation and fidelity to the original work. Adaptation is essentially an innovative activity, but in the adaptation of a literary work like the three-body problem, there is a dialectical relationship between innovation and fidelity to the original work. On the one hand, innovation is necessary because there are essential differences between film and television works and literary works in terms of narrative techniques, expression forms, and audience reception methods. On the other hand, excessive innovation may lead to deviation from the spirit of the original work and the loss of the original culture and philosophical depth. Therefore, the production team needs to constantly explore how to not only convey the core ideas of the original work, but also give the work new vitality and ornamental value through innovative visual effects, narrative structure, and character creation. The future trend of cross-cultural adaptation and the exemplary role of the three-body problem. The Netflix version of the three-body problem is not only an adaptation of a Chinese science fiction literature, but also an important practice of cross-cultural adaptation, providing valuable experience for future cross-cultural film and television works. With the deepening of globalization, cross-cultural adaptation will become a major trend in the film and television industry. It can not only bring more diverse and rich cultural experiences to global audiences, but also promote understanding and exchanges between different cultures. Through its success in adaptation strategies, cultural expressions, and innovative practices, the three-body problem demonstrates how to create high-quality works that meet the tastes of global audiences while maintaining respect for the original work. In short, the adaptation practice of the Netflix version of the three-body problem not only demonstrates the art of balance between adaptation and originality, but also sets a benchmark for future cross-cultural adaptation work. It proves that through careful adaptation strategies and innovative practices, literary works with profound cultural heritage can be successfully transformed into film and television works that can be appreciated and understood by global audiences, thereby opening up a new path for the internationalization of cultural products and enhancing the ability of different cultures to resonance and understanding. A summary of the art and challenges of the three-body problem Netflix version as a cross-cultural adaptation. The adaptation process and final product of the Netflix version of the three-body problem embody the art and challenges of cross-cultural adaptation, and demonstrate how to transform a science fiction masterpiece deeply rooted in the cultural soil of a country into a film and television that can be appreciated and understood by global audiences. Content. In this process, the production team not only needs to accurately understand the cultural and philosophical connotations of the original work, but also overcome differences in language, historical background, and cultural concepts to create narratives and visual expressions that can cross cultural boundaries. The Netflix version of the three-body problem successfully dealt with these challenges, demonstrating the complexity and creative balance of adaptation work by faithfully presenting the spirit of the original work and innovatively meeting the needs of film and television narratives. Implications for future cross-cultural adaptation projects. The Netflix version of the three-body problem provides important inspiration for future cross-cultural adaptation projects. First of all, it emphasizes the importance of in-depth understanding and respect for the cultural background of the original work, and any adaptation should not ignore the core value of the cultural elements of the original work. Secondly, it demonstrates the possibility of innovating while maintaining the spirit of the original work. Through technical means and creative thinking, complex science fiction stories can be transformed into visually engaging film and television works, while retaining their profound ideological and emotional impact. Finally, the project demonstrates the potential of cross-cultural exchange, adapted through a global lens, to introduce one country's cultural treasures to the world and promote understanding and appreciation between different cultures. The status and significance of the three-body problem in global cultural exchanges. The launch of the Netflix version of the three-body problem is not only an important milestone for Chinese science fiction literature, but also a highlight of global cultural exchanges. It not only introduced Chinese science fiction literature to a global audience, but also opened a global dialogue about science, philosophy, and the future. Through this kind of cross-cultural artistic creation and dissemination, Three-Body promotes a deeper understanding of Chinese history, culture, and the development of modern science and technology for global audiences, while also allowing global audiences to jointly discuss universal issues of human society and the future. Therefore, the Three-Body problem is not only a work of science fiction, but also a successful practice of cultural exchange, proving the unique value and power of literature and art in connecting different cultures and promoting global understanding. The adaptation of the Netflix version of the Three-Body problem is not only a tribute to the original work, but also an innovative exploration in the field of cross-cultural adaptation. It not only demonstrates the complexity and creativity of adaptation work, but also provides valuable experience for future cross-cultural adaptation projects, demonstrating the important role of cultural products in promoting global cultural exchanges and enhancing mutual understanding.